Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new F1 Esports video. This is round number 8, if my mind serves me correctly, around Zandvoort. Obviously, kind of my home track. Really enjoyed driving here in real life with Formula 4. Probably my favorite track I ever raced in Formula cars. That was still the old kind of circuit, though, no banking, or at least a lot less banking. But enough waffle. On to the standings. We go 16 points behind after Silverstone. And yeah, not an ideal last race. We had lost a lot of points in the Driver Championship. Obviously, also lost a few points in the Constructors. We're only 14 points ahead, which in the Team Championship is very, very little. I was actually saying last race was Silverstone, it was actually Spa. My bad. We head towards Zandvoort, and as you can see, this is our first lap in Q1. You might be noticing there is no sound. And I also saw a lot of comments over the past few videos that the colors are weird. I'm not the one recording this. This is just the footage we get. I cannot change anything at it. Yeah, if there's no sound on the footage, there's no sound. If the colors are off, the colors are off. From the people who remember on the 2020 F1 Esports videos, they never had sounds. So I think this might be just a one-off, but yeah, no ideal. I very much agree, but it is what it is. I didn't want to skip this video and the next video because quota will be the same because it's the same footage. So onto our second lap in Q1 we go. Currently P8 with after the first person finishing their final lap. Our teammate Freddy Rasmussen goes to provisional P1. We're half a tent up on this lap so far, and we get a good exit there. So that's going to be around 700s up as we head into the final sector, and that's all we need probably. Honestly, the first lap might have been enough already, but especially on Zandvoort, you do not want to go out in Q1. But yeah, it would have been enough as we go through the final corner. A little bit of a moment there. Last year we went out in Q1 because we had a little moment there as well in our last run in Q1. This year though, we make it into Q2. P5 it is. And that is a decent first session. We've had some quite bad qualifyings over the past few races, so we need to lock in for this one and at least make it to Q3, especially around Zandvoort. It is just nearly impossible to overtake. So qualifying really important. Teammate P1, 700s ahead of us, and felt like a decent lap for us. So on to Q2. Unfortunately, we will not have 2 new sets of tires for Q3 unless we make it into Q3 on a single new set of tires here. This is a used tire run. We go P6. Not too good, but the new tire run, 4.7 tons up. That was nice. And now on to the final run in Q2 we go, and we're barely improving. But because the times are so closely matched, every 100th of a second will matter so much around here. You can see we're only 2.5 up. By the time we cross the line, it's going to be 300s, and we jump from P8 to P4. The gap from P1 to P10 is 110. The gap from P1 to P9 is even more insane. It's only 7.4 hundredths. Both Freddy and Barry doing the same lap times actually there. Out in Q2, Ismail Fassi, Tom Manley, Tycho Hardy, and Duncan Hofland. No one is safe from not making it into Q3. First run in Q3, used tires, P6. But now, the one that matters the most. Yeah, this is going to be all or nothing. This is how I went into it because, yeah, we have to put everything into it here. Turn 1, little bit of understeer, but we still improve by half a tenth. Now that used tire run was quite a decent benchmark for the used tire. So if we improve 3-4 tenths again, just like we did in Q2, we might be fighting for pole. But into sector 2 we go, 800s up, decent first sector. And now this is all about carrying so much speed. How much front end can we ask from the car without losing the rear as well on the entries or on the exits? Our teammate Freddy Rasmussen does a 0.046. We will have to improve around 4 tenths in order to do that. At the moment, we're only 1.700s up as we head into the final sector. Decent chicane, hit a little bit of a pothole there on the white line. And now we're 2.700s up into the final sector we go. There's yellow flags out here, which obviously we do not have to slow down for an F1 Esports. No safety restrictions. Across the line we go, 2.3 tenths up. It is P6, 1 tenth away from pole only, but yeah, P6 it is, unfortunately. I could not show the final standings as my screen never went to the final standings, unfortunately, but our teammate got pole by quite a decent margin. I think around 700. We're only 300s away from P2. Very unfortunate. We're going to be starting on the mediums though in this race from P6 on the grid. I think a lot of people starting on the mediums, but there might still be some strategy variation in this race. So yeah, lights out and away we go. Head of Alfie Butcher. We didn't get a great launch off the line into turn 1. We're going to have a little look down the inside here. We get Alfie Butcher around or outside. Leaving him just enough space on the outside on both occasions. We're going to go wide here in turn number 4. And then we get a better exit due to the momentum. So we keep P6. And we need to try and keep P6. A little bit of argy-bargy going up front. And you can see straight away people tire saving like crazy through these double right-handers. We're going to try and put some pressure on Otis Lawrence, though. Somewhere in the middle. He's actually trying to do the same to Nikos Long, because I think he noticed that people were taking the piss a little bit with the tire saving straight away. Ismail Fassi in P8 on the softs. That is going to be a two-stop strategy for sure, because the softs will not make it until lap 12. You pretty much need, as there's a Mercedes off in the middle sector. You're actually just at the start of the last sector. So P6 it is after the opening lap. Nothing really gained. Unfortunately, not a great start of the line, but at the same time, no major losses as well. So on to the end of lap 5 we go, and yeah, as you can see behind us, Ismail Fassi already boxing for the two-stop, which even for the two-stop is really early. Because in order for the two-stop to work, obviously you need a lot fresher tires. Now, if the cars had to box on lap 12 and you make your second pit stop in lap 18, you're not going to have a huge tire advantage, which is exactly what you need. So end of lap 6, we have to respond in order to try and cover off the undercut on the two-stop. So yeah, out we come at the start of lap 7. And yeah, we got Joris Cruzen actually on the mediums behind us. So he's doing another strategy again. Alvaro Caraton gets overtaken by Ismail Fassi. And we have been undercut by 3 cars, which is not ideal. Yeah. And to make matters even worse, I almost felt like the cars ahead were tire saving on the two-stop strategy. And honestly, they might have had to, because they boxed so early for the two-stop. But yeah, it was frustrating because we would have liked to box a lot later on the two-stop. This is the end of lap 18. And yeah, when you've got one-stoppers boxing at the end of, I think lap 11 was the earliest one, which is obviously quite early after the 25 laps on the hards. But then there's also one-stoppers in there that are boxing at the end of lap 15. And now you've got the two-stoppers boxing at the end of lap 18. You only got a 3-lap tire advantage. And there's also going to be hard medium runners in there as well, of course. So yeah, this was just very frustrating. Honestly, I thought that we were going to be one of the only ones on the two-stop. There were a lot more two-stoppers than we expected. because overtaking is so hard that we just didn't think so many people would try it. And now obviously there's cars in there that are gonna have, only we're only gonna have like a 3-lap tire advantage. Even if we go really long, like lap 22, lap 23, it's only gonna be 4 or 5 laps to Alfa, rather than having a 10-lap advantage to most people on the grid, So this was frustrating. We also just didn't really catch fast enough in this stint. We should have been way, way further ahead. We got Freddie Rasmussen in our DRS. And that's just because, I felt like the cars ahead were just too slow in the first few laps of this stint. Again, maybe they were tire saving, maybe not. I'm not sure exactly what was going on. It was frustrating, but it is what it is. We can still score points from here. That is for sure, and that's what we're going to try and do here. Ismail Fassi boxes at the end of lap 19 as well. So 17-lap hard stint for him. We got 3 more hard medium runners ahead of us. I think that's Jake Benham, Thomas Ronhaar, and Duncan Hofland on the hard mediums. So, again, hard medium shouldn't be a really good strategy. But if everyone else are having to sacrifice their strategy as well, and the hard medium can box on a nice lap, it can still work really, really well, of course. So, end of lap 20. We're still out on the hard. Soon we might be breaking out of the DRS from our teammate Freddie Rasmussen, because we are pushing really, really hard, of course, to try and still make this 2-stop work. And what I was trying to do here is help Freddie try to get out of DRS from the cars behind him, which actually he has managed to do so now. You can see the gap to Barry Bormond, 1.7 seconds, but Freddie has obviously had to also push quite a bit to keep up with us, because the DRS isn't super strong around here. It's only at 2 locations, and also they're not very long straights, So end of lap 21, and we're looking to pass Tom Manley ahead of us, probably on this lap, if he does not come into the pits. So we're trying to get as close as possible to him. Jake Benham in P3, still out on the hards, going long. He has to go to the mediums, of course, in this second stint for him, which are not the better race tire. The hards will be the better tire, and that's why we will be going onto the hards again as well. So, end of lap 21, and we're going to try and get past Tom Manley here into turn number 1. He is boxing anyway, so it doesn't matter. He just put the recharge button back on, and now we're pushing flat out. Barry Bormond has actually caught up to our teammate Freddie Rasmussen, as we have broken DRS, 2.4 seconds behind Thomas Ronhaar now. At the end of lap 23, we are going to be boxing for a new set of the hard tires, 13 laps to the end. Perhaps we should have done another lap or another 2 laps, but we decided to go for this one because we still had to catch the grid as well. That was another issue. But out we go in P17 after starting P6. So 13 laps to the end. We got Joshi Do right ahead of us, together with Joni Tormela. Both on the 2-stop as well, but both boxed quite early. So we will have a tire advantage for the next 3-4 laps. Thomas Ronhaar boxed 1 lap later than us onto the medium. So he's going to have a really good tire advantage for the next 3-4 laps, and then they're going to fall off. So it was a little bit frustrating that he got past us here, because now he's going to get DRS on the next lap. And then it's going to be really difficult to pass him because he will have DRS. But at the same time, I didn't want to fight this, because in some way we can help each other to fight through the field here. We're both in the same scenario, really fresh tires, but we're running out of time and it's not easy to pass. So I was, let's try and work together a little bit here. He goes for late lunge down the inside of Joni Tormela in turn 1. We are sitting on 100% battery out of turn number 1. And now we're going to try and go for a move somewhere in the middle sector, perhaps. You've got one really good overtaking opportunity in around 3 corners time after all the long right-handers. You know, the tires will be getting really hot, especially if you're on worn tires. You might be struggling a little bit more here. And it's also just a good dive bomb opportunity, you know. So up to P15 we go. Joni Tomla not fighting us too hard there. And up one position we go. We still need to gain 5 positions to get into the points though. As Thomas Rotner trying to go for a move on Tom Manley there into the chicane. But yeah, again, not easy to get a move done. I was like, maybe we can go for a move here into the final corner, but we're not going to have enough momentum to really get far enough alongside to do something there. So I was like, let's try it again into turn number 1. And go for a move here. You can see Thomas is flashing, which means he's below 10% battery, but his tires might still be a little bit faster at this point. So we had to back off again in turn 1. Couldn't get the momentum around the outside. So yeah, we tuck in behind and we're still only in P15. We only got 7 laps to go. And yeah, if we want to finish where we started, we will have to overtake more than 1 car per lap, which is starting to look quite unlikely. So it looks like we've bottled the strategy here a little bit because, yeah, if he would have done a regular 1-stop, we probably would have still been in P6. Maybe even better, of course. So, again, no overtake has been made so far. I could have maybe gone for a move there on Thomas, but I also just wanted him to recharge the battery a little bit faster so we can get through the field. We actually bumped him a little bit there by accident as the whole field came to a halt. Everyone on the 1-stop, of course, in extreme tire saving mode. Our teammate Freddie Rasmussen still in P1. And now we're going to try and go for a move again because Thomas doesn't really seem to have great straight line speed. So we go around the outside in turn number 1. We're far enough alongside for him to have us need to leave space. So into turn number 4 we go. We're not going to have more momentum, but he might get a little bit stuck here. We get a little bit of slipstream through the left-hander. Now he gets the slipstream, and now we might get clean air around the outside, but there's not a lot of grip around the outside here, so we have to be careful. We have actually been going side by side for like over half the lap at this rate. He sends it down the inside of Tom Manley, and now didn't want to make it 3 wide through that right-hander. A little bit of contact between the two into the left-hander, and we can't get the move done. But we still have quite a lot of battery though. By the time we are going to go into the final corner, we might be sitting around 70-75%, which is quite good. Make it 65%. So let's see if we can go for another move again into turn 1 on Tom Manley ahead. We have only around 3-lap tire advantage, so we're going to have to be late on the brakes here. Draining our battery into turn number 1 we go. Couldn't pull it off, but once again they're fighting up ahead, so they're starting to run out of battery. And now we get a good run out of turn number 1. Got a nice bit of clean air on our front wing there, and now we're gonna have to go around the outside. And if we get far enough alongside and get a good exit, we're gonna have more momentum and move up to P14. And now we're straight away gonna go on the attack on Thomas Rotner. We're gonna go around the outside into the next right-hander. Again, we go side by side, but this time there's not enough dirt here for Thomas to really not be able to carry speed. So we're gonna recharge the battery and hope that Thomas and Josh squabble a little bit here, which they do. We're not going to attack Thomas now because that would be completely pointless and it would completely stall our progress through the field. So we're just going to sit behind and recharge our battery into turn 1 and on this little straight as well. Thomas is doing the same, and then we hope that he goes on the attack straight away in the middle sector again. So going to recharge the battery early on, and we need to hope that Tom Manley doesn't drain his battery. He's probably quite low as well on the battery anyway after all those squabbles. So yeah, P14 it is still. We got 4 laps to go, so we have to overtake 1 car per lap to make it to P10 and just get a point. at this point. Again, we're going to recharge the battery early because there's not really a clear overtaking opportunity there. Maybe if we would have been closer, we could have done something there, but we were recharging the battery. So again, Thomas going for a late send. He knows that we're running out of time here. And now these two make contact, and that opens the door for us and moves us into P12. If we can get the move done into the next braking zone, we're barely getting left enough space there on the right-hander, but a little bit of argy-bargy. We're going to get the move done before we get into the final corner. And now, up to P12 we go. 3 laps to go at the end of this one. We get Alvaro Carreton, also on the 2-stop ahead, but obviously boxed 5 laps earlier than us. So, let's see. 5 laps is not a lot of tire advantage, but we're going to have to try and do it somewhere in this middle sector. Again, so slow through there. Thomas Stroner actually retired from the session there after an incident. Not sure what happened to him, but we continue. We have to try and make a move there. I think Alvaro knows that we are coming, so he's going to try and go for a move as well. He wants to get at least a point as well in this race, so he can take that risk, because obviously if he just stays here, he's not going to score points. But let's see. We are pretty much full battery by the time we hit Sector 3. And that means we can go maximum attack in these last 2 laps of the race. And that's exactly what we're going to try and do. To the final corner we go. Right on the gearbox of Alvaro Carreton. And we're going to get a tiny bit of slipstream into turn number 1. We're going to have to be late on the brakes. Let's see, does he defend the inside? He does, which means we can brake late around the outside, get a little bit of clean air. He leaves us just enough space. We have to go a little bit onto the gravel. We go around the outside through the next right-hander, which turns to the inside for the next one, which is not particularly better, but Alvaro doesn't get a huge run on us through there. Joris obviously giving Alvaro a little bit of slipstream because he has the worst tires. Through the next right-hander we go. Alvaro is boxed in. We go around the outside still through the next right-hander. We've been going side by side for a very long time. Into the next right-hander we go again. We get squeezed a little bit onto the grass, but we managed to stay side by side into the next left-hander. And now we're finally get ahead into P11. And now we got 1 lap to go at the end of this one to try and get into the points and get ahead of Joris Cruisen on this final lap of the race. We might have to recharge the battery a little bit here. We're not going to have a run this time around, so we're going to have to save the battery and see if we can do something on the final 2 sectors of the lap. Yours on the 2-stop as well. I think, again, if we would have been in a scenario where we didn't have to overtake any 2-stoppers, then this race might have been very, very different. But that's just not how it went. As you can imagine, we really struggled overtaking the 2-stoppers. I think we got slowed down a lot in our second stint after our first pit stop. Again, this race might have been completely different if it only went slightly different. There would have been slightly less 2-stoppers, but yeah, lesson learned for the future. Again, this was our first 2-stop race in F1 Esports, first dry 2-stop race in F1 Esports. So it was also a little bit new scenarios for us, and in some way a huge learning lesson. So unfortunately, we couldn't get past Joris Cruisen here on the last lap, but we will get points after penalties. So we do get a point. And I think we actually might get a point for the fast lap as well, which, very welcome, because I think we're the fastest lap in the top 10. So, yeah, those 2 points are welcome. Not the result we wanted, especially after starting P6, of course. Actually, we did not get a fast lap point. We only got 1 point, as Jake Benham had a fast lap hard medium strategy looked a lot better here in this race than the 2-stop medium hard. So yeah, frustrating, but it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. Nonetheless, even without the sound, I apologize for that. Nothing I can do about it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly didn't. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Ciao.